Most Foxtel setups will be installed by an authorised Foxtel technician. So, in most cases, your system will be up and running and you won't really need to know about this stuff straight away. But you might find there are times when your circumstances change, or perhaps you might just want to know a little bit more. If it's detailed info you're after, consult the manual that came with your Foxtel unit. Now, throughout this tutorial, we'll talk about the new Foxtel accessories range, which allows you to customise and upgrade your setup. There are millions of people enjoying subscription television in Australia, and virtually no two setups are alike. There's no one-size-fits-all description of what we provide. Many people who live in flats and units, for example, can only get a limited version of Foxtel. Because we're now a digital service, a particular kind of cabling is required to be present in the building. Whatever your setup, the Foxtel set-top unit should live in a well-ventilated place. Under normal operation, it can get quite warm, so make sure its vents are free from obstructions, with about 5 centimetres of airspace all around it. You might want to give it a light dusting now and again, but there's not much else it should need. You should leave the box switched on at the wall and leave the smart card in the unit at all times. Foxtel keeps your box up to date with the latest software updates and system enhancements when you're not using it, usually overnight. All you need to do is use the remote's power button here to turn the box on and off day in, day out. It's a good habit to get into to turn the box off this way when you're not using it, as it keeps the box free to receive updates and other enhancements. If you're able, you should get the set-top unit connected to a phone line. This is a standard telephone cable which plugs into the Foxtel box and out to the closest spare phone socket in your home. Not all set-top units have phone connectors, but if yours does, you'll see this connector at the back of the box. If proximity to a phone line is your problem, you might consider purchasing a Foxtel Digipath from the Foxtel accessories range, which is a wireless way of connecting your Foxtel box to a phone line. You connect the transmitter Digipath to the phone lead from the back of the Foxtel unit. Plug this into a spare power point. Then, plug the receiver Digipath in at a power point that's near a phone socket elsewhere in your home. However you do it, plugging your Foxtel box into a phone line lets you order Foxtel's enhanced features like box office movies and main event titles using the remote control. And it gives you access to Foxtel's premium interactive services like games and voting, provided, of course, you have access to these services where you live. Leave the box plugged into the phone line. The box only has to make one local call per month, and that's it. You won't run up a huge phone bill with normal Foxtel operation, unless you vote and play games all day long. The standard cable that connects the Foxtel box to your TV is what's called a SCART to composite lead. The yellow cable is vision, and the white and red cables are stereo audio. Red for right, white for left. These plug into your TV's video and audio in sockets. Your Foxtel box will have a second SCART connector at the back. Plug in here a SCART to VCR connector from the Foxtel accessories range. And you can hook up the Foxtel box to your VCR or DVD unit. Many TVs these days, particularly the new widescreen ones, have what's called S-video or component video inputs. Check the manual that came with your telly. Most Foxtel set-top units are compatible with these formats, and you'll find SCART to S-video and component video connectors in the Foxtel accessories range. Connecting your TV or TV projector this way means you'll be viewing the output of the Foxtel box at its optimum picture quality. Both connectors have the standard stereo audio outputs, which you can connect to your TV or your hi-fi system if you have one nearby. There's only one trick to know if you're going to upgrade to these cables, and that is you have to change the box's video output in the picture settings menu before you change the cables. Now, if you have a surround sound system or amplifier with a digital input, you'll find many Foxtel set-top units have an optical audio output. The Foxtel optical audio cable will run digital audio straight to your amplifier or surround sound system. Again, this cable is available in the Foxtel accessories range, but make sure you check first that your equipment has these inputs. Here's an extra nice feature for IQ users. Normally, you'd have to have your Foxtel set-top unit out in your room so that it can be in line of sight of the remote control's infrared beam. But if you have an iQ, the Foxtel accessories range offers the iQ multi-room connector, which allows you to keep your iQ box tucked away in your entertainment unit. You simply run this infrared receiver out to somewhere it can be seen by your remote. The Foxtel accessories range is available from selected retailers. You can find out more at foxtel.com.au/accessories. Here you can download the manuals that come with the accessories before you buy them to make sure they're right for you. Coming up, what to do when your Foxtel service misbehaves. All right, we're on the home stretch now. Before we finish, I want to show you a few troubleshooting tips. The best place for the good oil on all things technical is the manual that came with your Foxtel equipment. Have a squiz. You'll find a stack of technical stuff and answers to frequently asked questions. There's more information at the My Foxtel section of our website at foxtel.com.au. And of course, if none of that resolves an issue you might be having, you can always get in touch with your service provider. For Foxtel, call 131 999. For Optus, 133161. And for Telstra, call 1800 00 8897. Go ahead, it's all part of the service. Let me save you a phone call right now and run through the more common problems and their solutions. Earlier on, I showed you how to back out of the TV guide menus using the back button. You can also use the back button whilst watching Foxtel to toggle between the channel you last watched and the channel you're watching now. But see this? At the top of the remote is the Foxtel button. Think of this as your #1 fix-all panic button. If you get lost at any time, or the screen goes blank, or your remote seems to have suddenly stopped working, click this and you should return to what you were last watching. It's good to know. Well, why would my screen go blank or remote suddenly stop working, I hear you say? Well, most of the time, this little button here is the culprit. It's the AV button, which sometimes gets pressed by mistake. Let's find out what happens when you press it on purpose. If you have a VHS or DVD unit as a part of your existing TV setup at home, you may have it connected to your Foxtel set-top unit with a SCART to VCR connector, like I mentioned earlier. You can then simply access this equipment by pressing the AV button, and you'll be watching the output of your VHS or DVD through the Foxtel box. This saves a whole chunk of clicking and switching and carry on. To return to Foxtel, simply press the Foxtel button. Pretty handy, huh? As with most electronic accessories these days, the Foxtel box has a computer inside it. And just like any computer, now and then things can go pear-shaped. If pressing the Foxtel button on the remote doesn't fix a problem you're having, it's time for a restart. The best way to restart your Foxtel box is to press and hold the back and select buttons on the front of the box. If your box looks like this, press and hold the standby and Foxtel buttons. The box will then shut down and go through a reboot. Wait a couple of minutes, and when you power the box back up, it'll return you right here to the help channel, all fresh and ready for action. Well, that about wraps it up for us here at the Help Channel. Thanks again for choosing Foxtel to bring the complete world of TV entertainment home to your place. The show's about to repeat, as it does every hour, so I'll see you in a bit.